One of the biggest AI companies in the world is being accused of training its models on pirated books and unlicensed lyrics. And the allegations aren't small. We're talking millions of downloaded books, hundreds of thousands in protected works, and claims that the founder and CEO personally took part in the torrenting. Hi, it's Mimi Leaks. Hit subscribe and like the video for more deep dives like this. The publishers bringing this case say that they didn't learn about the torrenting until a different lawsuit made it public. That case, Bartz versus Anthropic. And in it, the judge issued a public order summarizing evidence that Anthropic had downloaded millions of books and did so from public library sites. The problem? Anthropic already had a case against it brought by these same publishers from 2024. When they tried to add the torrenting allegations to that first case, the court blocked that amendment. So they filed a second lawsuit, which brings us here. The 2026 complaint repeats the core theory from the first case, claiming Anthropic copied, stored, trained on, and output copyrighted works without permission. But it also adds the torrenting allegations, the newer models, and the individual defendants named in this one. And that's why this is the complaint I'll be reading. When you strip away the first 4 pages of DBAs and so forth, the plaintiffs in this case are 3 of the most powerful music publishers on the planet. According to the nature of the case, the publishers say Anthropic built its AI models on a huge stash of pirated books, downloaded from torrent sites like LibGen and Plimi. They claim one founder did the torrenting personally, another approved it, and that millions of books were pulled down, including hundreds containing lyrics that the plaintiffs own. These books allegedly became training data for Claude 4.5, which the publishers say can output copyrighted lyrics and generate new lyrics that compete with real songs, harming the licensing market. The case is in federal court in Northern California because Anthropic is headquartered there and the founders live and work there, and the alleged infringement happened there. There are a lot of plaintiffs. First, there's Concord, a global independent music publisher. Next are a bunch of entities that make up Universal and are part of the Universal Music Publishing Group, or UPMG, one of the largest music publishers, and that also goes for ABKCO. Between all plaintiffs, they control hundreds of thousands of iconic songs. And then there's corporate defendant Anthropic, the AI company behind Claude. The publishers paint them as a multi-billion-dollar safety-focused AI company that behind the scenes allegedly built its empire on pirated books and unlicensed lyrics. All of these parties were named in the first suit, but this suit brings individual defendants who are Anthropic's founders, CEO Dario Amodei and technical co-founder Benjamin Mann. They are named because plaintiffs allege they either greenlit or personally participated in the torrenting operation at the center of the case. Publishers say that lyrics aren't just text on a page, they're the emotional and narrative core of a song, and the complaint makes that the point early because it sets the stakes for everything that follows. The publishers explain that the entire music publishing system runs on permission and licensing. That's how songwriters get paid and how they keep creating. They also point out that they already offer plenty of legitimate ways to access lyrics and sheet music from licensed books to digital platforms, so there's no shortage of authorized options. This is the world as it's supposed to work. Now we get to Anthropic and its infringing conduct, which takes up the bulk of the rest of the complaint. Generally speaking, Anthropic develops, sells, licenses access to AI programs, and talks about the business structure as it appears, and then pivots pretty hard, describing how Anthropic allegedly built its business on piracy, and this is where the tone shifts. It introduces pirate libraries like LibGen and Plimi, portraying them as massive shadow archives full of pirated books, including sheet music collections. Third-party actors would create shadow versions like Z Library, and it explains how BitTorrent actually works. When you torrent something, you're not just downloading it, but you're uploading it to everybody else in the swarm. That detail becomes crucial later. Next, the complaint discusses Anthropic's illegal torrenting of the publisher's works and giving dates, like in early 21, when the founder, which is Benjamin Mann, turned to LibGen to illegally torrent millions of books due to several pirate libraries being shut down by the government, as well as in June of 2021, and also says that Mann did not act alone, as he discussed it with Dario Amodei, Anthropic founder and chief science officer Jared Kaplan, and other senior leadership. Anthropic's own archive team deemed LibGen to constitute a blatant violation of copyright, and even Amodei described LibGen as sketchy, but they still proceeded, torrenting additional copyrighted works from Pulumi, which mirrored the contents of the shuttered Z library, much to his colleagues' delight. So they continued downloading in 2022. In fact, they used manpower and engineers to create a more efficient system, comparing data sets of their torrent, which means that the illegal torrenting was deliberate and organized, distributing it back out into the world, contributing to further copyright infringement. In fact, at the same time, Dr. Amodei himself acknowledged that Anthropic could have chosen to obtain these works the lawful way, but defendants instead chose to go the faster, cheaper, unlawful way and illegally torrent them instead. As Dr. Amodei put it, it avoided a legal practice business slog. They alleged the defendants obtained unauthorized data sets to train its AI models. One of those, the pile, gives more weight to certain data sets, like Books 3, which is the pirate's booty stash of the publisher's copyrighted works, so to speak. The pile also contains human-generated closed captions for 173,651 YouTube videos, which means a lot of song lyrics end up in the mix too. And they still use the pile to train Claude. Common Crawl is another one of those data sets which contains unauthorized material from parties that do have authorization to reproduce their material, like Music Match, Lyric Find, and Genius. The publishers say Anthropic cleaned data but didn't remove copyrighted lyrics, storing the data, creating units known as tokens to train its models in multiple ways. The process by which they fine-tune its model may require additional copying of the text from there. Each of these models Anthropic trains becomes an independent and separate infringement of the publisher's works. And apparently, according to the plaintiffs, Anthropic's leadership has a long history of doing things like this. Amodei, the current CEO, worked as VP of Research at OpenAI and used data sets that include full text copies of copyrighted works that they used for AI training. They used data from Reddit as well as newspaper content extractors. Even as early as May 2021, high-ranking employees, including the founders, had discussed extraction tools and their merits. In June of 21, Mann and Kaplan compared various extraction tools, and they intentionally use extractor algorithms to remove copyright management information from publishers and their other works in its training data sets. They claim that going into Anthropic's continued exploitation, there's internal acknowledgement that large language models memorize a lot, which becomes the bridge to the output allegations. And their users do the same, and Anthropic monitors this behavior. Anthropic has gained enormous benefits, allegedly, from using copyrighted works in its models. Its valuation surged to $350 billion, fueled by massive investor funding. The complaint says Claude's appeal and value come partly from being trained on copyrighted lyrics. They earn subscription revenue from users who rely on lyric-based outputs. It also profits from commercial plans and per-token API fees tied to lyric requests and outputs. Customers' use of Claude allegedly reproduces the same infringement, and they obtain user data to improve models and attract further investment. Doing this causes serious harm to publishers by undercutting the licensing market, it devalues catalogs, and threatens the livelihoods of songwriters. The AI-generated lyrics compete directly with real songs, which is one of the most compelling stakes for viewers. And they close by saying that this left them with no choice but to file the lawsuit to put an end to Anthropic's ongoing infringement of their rights and remedy the significant harm they've caused and continue to. So now, the new case sits with the same judge as the first case. Same courtroom, same background, Each case keeps its own claims, but with the second one pulled into the same orbit as the first. And with both cases now running side by side, the next steps will show how the court decides to handle the allegations, as well as the foundation that the publishers claim Anthropic built. Thanks for watching and sticking through the full complaint. If you want more deep dives like this, hit subscribe and like the video so that the algorithm knows that you want them and so that I can keep making them.